Events and people cannot and will not determine your current thinking and subsequent emotions. You are the master of your own thinking. It's scientifically proven that your thoughts create your emotions. Despite this causal link, your emotions are predominantly unpleasant. This is because bad thoughts always seem to have an upper hand with your thinking habits. Your life situation and society's norms, since the day you were born, have guided your thinking patterns and shaped your personality. The way you look at events or situations, and how you react to them is dependent on whether you are an optimistic or a pessimistic individual. In this video, you will become aware of the thinking habits that generate distorted thinking patterns, that subsequently sabotage your emotions. Identifying your thoughts as they arise is the first step to emotional well-being and freedom.
In the previous discussion, you were briefly made aware of the idea of flicking the switch of your mind. It means that you begin to look at a situation that affected you earlier in a different way. To engage in an experience that gives rise to a satisfying life, there is no need to look beyond your thoughts. All you have to do is to change the way you think. Experts who have conducted workshops with volunteers have discovered that many of them believe that thinking is a process that happens to them. They remain oblivious to the fact that they are responsible for their own thinking and quickly become thought creators. Why is such an understanding important? With 60,000 plus words a day constantly shifting focus in your mind, it's easy to take things for granted. We tend to accept thinking is a natural process that happens to all human beings. Ironically, it's not the good thoughts that preoccupy your thinking, but the bad and damaging ones. Many people are surrounded with material wealth, such as a big house or a luxurious sports car. They may even have a family that is the envy of some. To many people out there, having such possessions does not necessarily translate into their sense of well-being. They don't have the sense of feeling good despite being surrounded with material possessions and life circumstances. Rather than thinking about those possessions they have, they spend most of their time thinking about things that they don't have. We're thinking practically every second of our existence. Not everyone is aware of this fact. A simple, yet an important one that governs our life as it manifests our feelings. Your feelings right now is already determined by your thoughts. It's an ongoing process that happens at lightning speeds. A simple experiment will put such a claim to its test. Can you feel sad without thinking about a sad event or incident? Can you be angry without thinking about thoughts that trigger angry feelings within you? Would you even feel guilty without your thoughts evoking such feelings within yourselves? These simple yet important experiments show us that it's virtually impossible to have emotions without a presiding thought to trigger them. You become emotionally tied to the events played out in your mind. You will feel good when you have optimistic and uplifting thoughts. It's an undeniable fact that a pessimistic person will generate negative thoughts and feel bad with corresponding emotions. You cannot change this causal link, but there's a way out of the mess that many have unconsciously created. Life is full of circumstances that dictate our journey on this planet. Two people may come across similar situations, but one may come out experiencing a very bad emotional roller coaster. The other person may be cool with what he or she sees. He or she may feel calm and relaxed with the situation in front of him or her. Circumstances are the same, but one is a pessimist while the other an optimist. The thought that goes on in their minds as they think about the situation determines the way they feel following their experiences. Much research into negative thinking has been done in the past. One thing is for sure. The negative thinking that preoccupies people's mind is not easily distinguishable. This is because people who are engaged in dysfunctional thinking have accepted it as rational rather than some irrational activity. Most of the 60,000 plus words that revolve in your mind daily are thoughts that were born out of an original thought you had. Your thinking analyzes and justifies an original thought you had. If it's a negative thought, then it soon spirals into a depression-induced thinking. Sometime in a previous video, we were exposed to the idea that you are what you think. The brain rewires the numerous connections of the neurons. Neurons that are in constant use are strengthened, while the ones that are not will be weakened. Thus is the brain's default function. A lifetime of distorted thinking will soon become the norm, as neural pathways are carved out in your brain, leading to thinking habits that become automatic. The more focused the mind becomes of an event, the more it becomes involved. Such thinking styles block us from achieving an overall life that is not only pleasant but desirable as well. To regain control and become aware of your thinking, it is necessary for you to step back and acknowledge that a negative thought is just that. It is not necessarily the truth. The key to self-empowerment comes about when you become aware of this. The more we become identified with our distorted thinking habits, the more we end up becoming less confident and underperform. We eventually end up with a weak mental resolve. Your thinking can be categorized as distorted if you happen to do the following. You end up blaming yourself for past failures. You doubt your abilities. You fear facing any future events. You put yourself down, and you expect failure down the road. None of these assumptions about you are true. These assumptions are made without you becoming aware of them consciously. The moment you recognize the different thinking patterns, you are already on the verge of altering your negative thoughts that is already on autopilot. The key to catching hold of these unhelpful thoughts in their tracks is to identify them as soon as they pop up in your mind. Doing so will enable you to become more rational and allow you to challenge your beliefs and consequently change your feelings. The route towards achieving this is not going to be easy in the beginning. This is because you are on the verge of changing entrenched habits that have become your personality.